Hello and welcome to Access Asia here on France 24. I'm William Hildebrand. Coming up, a new emperor, a new era. The age of order and harmony set to begin when the crown prince inherits the throne. South Korea sees a solution to its Spycam scandals, placing retailers under greater scrutiny. But will it be enough? And the tuber could go lunar. China's got a hankering for potatoes and is taking the production to new heights. Well, at the end of the month, Japan's emperor will make way for his eldest son, the crown prince. The transition will mark a new era. After months of secret deliberations, officials selected the name of the era as Reiwa, which means order and harmony. Yuka Roye has more.
For only the third time in nearly 100 years, Japan gets to start a new imperial era, and it will be called Reiwa, written in two Chinese characters that symbolize order and harmony.
The
name Reiwa carries the meaning that culture is born and nurtured as people care about each other and come together in beautiful harmony.
The current era, Heisei, is set to end in a month's time when Emperor Akihito abdicates for Crown Prince Naruhito to ascend the throne. The new name was announced ahead of time to help people prepare, as the imperial era, or Gengo, is used for dates in things like driving licenses, coins and newspapers, in parallel with the Gregorian calendar. On the 1st of May, the year changes from Heisei 31 to Reiwa 1. For many in Japan, Gengo is more than just a calendar. It is reflective of their zeitgeist.
I hope we'll continue to enjoy peace in the coming years.
It'd be nice if our economy improves and life becomes easier for young people.
The name selection had been kept ultra-secret. Scholars and bureaucrats spent months drawing up a list of candidates before the government made the final decision. Ministers were asked to leave their cell phones behind to avoid leaks before the Prime Minister's announcement. The name Reiwa draws from the 7th century Japanese poetry collection Manyoshu, unlike its predecessors, which were selected from ancient Chinese texts.
And staying in Japan, a law has drawn international criticism. It requires transgender people to effectively be sterilized in order to legally change their gender. NGOs say it violates the country's own human rights obligations and runs counter to international medical standards. Claire Rush has more.
Fumino Sugiyama is a transgender man. He was born with female genitalia, but has identified as a man for as long as he can remember. As part of his transition, Fumino had a mastectomy, the surgical removal of breasts. He wants to be recognized as trans by legally changing his gender on official documents to male. But he can't because of a restrictive Japanese law.
I underwent a full mastectomy, but I haven't had my ovaries removed. Therefore, I do not meet the criteria and am not allowed to legally change my gender.
A law passed in 2004 requires transgender people to effectively be sterilized in order to legally change gender. This means they must undergo surgery to have their original reproductive organs removed. There are other conditions as well. Those who want to change gender must be over 20 years old, single, and without children. More obstacles for Fumino, who has a girlfriend and a child. He can't be recognized as a male or as a father, as same-sex marriage is barred in Japan.
Last year, my girlfriend received artificial insemination and gave birth. We have a child now. But legally, my girlfriend is considered a single mother, and I'm just a roommate. It doesn't matter how many times I've changed nappies or fed our child. I have no legal connection, and that's the reality.
A Human Rights Watch report published in March offers a glimpse of the obstacles that transgender people face in Japan. The international rights group says sterilization operations should not be required for legal gender changes.
Forcing anyone to undergo a surgical procedure, in particular one that sterilizes them, in order to be recognized before the law, is a human rights violation.
The issue has received renewed attention since Japan's Supreme Court upheld the law in January. A 4-judge panel unanimously rejected the argument that the law was unconstitutional. But 2 judges proposed regular reviews of the law and acknowledged that personality and individuality should be respected. Remarks that may spark hope for the advancement of LGBT rights in Japan.
Well, South Korea is trying to crack down on illicit filming in the country. Thousands of cases are reported every year. Last month, 4 men were arrested for secretly filming 1,600 people in which the footage was live streamed online. Clement Bonnereau has a story.
These are no ordinary watchers. Take a closer look and you'll see a tiny 1mm wide camera.
You click here and it starts recording.
Shin Jang-jin's shop in Seoul is full of these seemingly innocuous objects. From pens and lighters to smoke detectors, they're all equipped with hidden cameras. Shin has sold thousands of those over the years, but now he's coming under growing pressure as South Korea faces a Spycam crime epidemic.
Most of those crimes are committed with cell phones. Products like ours are used less than 1% of the time.
Retailers say their gadgets are meant for fun, but many spycams have been used to capture people, mostly women, in public places, such as toilets, changing rooms and gyms. Last month, 4 men were arrested after secretly filming 1,600 people in motel rooms across the country. The footage was then live-streamed online for paying customers to watch. The problem is only getting bigger. 6,000 cases of illicit filming were reported to South Korean police in 2018, up from around 2,000 in 2012. Victims say electronics shops are to blame, but this retailer says he's doing whatever he can to turn away unscrupulous customers.
There are a lot of people who come here with suspicious intentions. I politely tell them we don't have what you're looking for. Please go look somewhere else.
Anyone can buy a hidden camera in South Korea and there are no regulations. But that could change soon. Lawmakers have been discussing a new bill that would force buyers to register with a government database. They've also called for tougher sanctions against offenders.
Well, rice is a staple crop in China. The potato's influence is growing. The crop could help address challenges in the rural economy and the environment, and it may be the perfect recipe for the spud to go from dud to stud.
An ode to potatoes, live on TV. It's not a joke or an accident. In China, the powers that be have decided to convert the Chinese people to the simple spud. In a country where rice is the main staple, potatoes are traditionally unloved and unwanted. Today that's changing. Farmers are planting the crop en masse. The largest producer is this man, Yohong Tao. At this time of year, he employs more than 200 workers who labour across his land.
Here are my potato fields. I have 800 hectares. Today we will harvest 100 tons.
In the past, Mr. Yu grew various vegetables, but sensing a change in the wind, he switched to potatoes 10 years ago. Now his production is approaching 10,000 tons per year.
I responded to my country's call. I converted my entire business to potatoes. I'm very happy. Today I eat more potatoes than rice.
He is not the only one. In the city of Denzhou, potatoes are everywhere, all waiting to be shipped out around the country. At this market, 1,000 sellers gather every day.
It's 30 cents a kilo.
These potatoes are the best.
In a country suffering from drought, potatoes need 4 times less water than rice to grow. So, more environmentally friendly and easier to cultivate than rice and grains. It's easy to see why Chinese authorities are airing propaganda promoting potatoes in the kitchen. They're even pushing potatoes to new heights, planning to grow them on the moon. Back in Beijing, the potato is making an entrance into the city's restaurants. This eatery is completely dedicated to the spud. It's the star of the menu. The chef's only job is to show off its many sides, fry it, bake it, serve it with rice, or even use it for noodles.
We want to slowly change Chinese tastes to become used to this new staple.
And the clients, though still few in number, seem to appreciate it.
Now I love noodles made out of potatoes.
I prefer potatoes to rice.
This business owner is the Potato King. He has already opened 4 restaurants since the beginning of the year.
We have less and less arable land. The potato can be grown everywhere. With government support, I'm sure these restaurants will succeed.
The simple potato. Now the future of food in China. Cheap and easy to make, the challenge is convincing over 400 million consumers to make space for it on their tables.
And finally, after being displayed for years, an Indonesian amusement park has covered up a pair of bare-breasted mermaid statues, initially putting them in gold fabric, but the statues later had to be moved because visitors kept pulling their tops off. While Encore Dreamland has been ridiculed on social media, the park stood by its decision, saying it aimed to respect Eastern values. Who knew you couldn't go to Dreamland without the right dress code? Well, that's it for this week. Please stay tuned to France 24.